Welcome to Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. The Betfred Championship has just completed round number 4. And wow, the championship, we said at the start of the season, it is going to deliver breathtaking, enthralling, captivating rugby league out there on the field. And this weekend's round has delivered that and more. There was a number of games that went right down to the wire, in some cases the hooter even. We'll start with the game yesterday that I was at Mount Pleasant, Batley Bulldogs against the Keighley Cougars. It was a game that Keighley thought they had won with a Dane Chisholm drop goal, 4 minutes to go to full time. But back come Batley, there's 30 seconds left on the clock, and Dale Morton scores and breaks Keighley's hearts, Keighley's soul. And that is a real valuable win for Craig Lingard and Batley after what they've gone through, because they started round 1 with that great win against London, the first win in the capital for 30 plus years, and then they've obviously had a couple of disappointing performances, 2 disappointing defeats back at home. You know, last time out at home they lost to Swinton. This was a big morale boosting win. It probably puts a little bit of spotlight and a little bit of pressure on Rhys Lovegrove and the Keighley Cougars, because they went into this season, you know, a lot of talk was said from Keighley about, you know, we're not here to make up the numbers, you know, we're here to thrive and challenge and be a top 6 side and potentially give ourselves a 1 in 6 chance in the playoffs as getting that spot into Super League. What I saw yesterday, just quickly, I think Keighley lack that forward mobility, that forward progress. That is going to get your Lewis Youngs, that's going to get your Dane Chisholms, that's going to get your Luke Gale in a field position to get the points on the board. I saw very, very frustrated Dane Chisholm and Luke Gale at times yesterday when, no disrespect to the players that they have got, you know the championship as well as me, Jimmy. If you're having last tackle players on halfway, you could have Luke Gale, you know what, you could have Billy Slater, you could have Cameron Smith, you could have whoever. Yeah. You're not going to be posting points on the board. And you know, like you say, it is going to be a very challenging season for Keighley ahead. I don't know whether or not there's money in the budget to bring in forwards. I'm not sure if there's any forwards available who they could look to bring in.
We've always got a couple, Mick. We're waiting for Reese's call. We've always got a couple.
Well, there you go, Reese.
Dad's at the helm.
No, look, we know Reese watches the show. I've done interviews with Reese. I've got a lot of time for Reese. He's a very young, up-and-coming, promising coach, and I'm sure yesterday, you know, a couple of Keighley errors that led to Batley points on the board, you know, those are all fundamentals that they can work on. But look, listen, fantastic win for Craig Lingard and Batley. And like I say, it was a real good championship game that wouldn't have gone amiss if it was on television. And listen, you know, Batley now at 50%, Keighley, they're at 25% after those 3 defeats. Keighley have got a massive game at home against London this weekend. Batley, again, they're on the road, Best Yorkshire Derby at the Shea. We'll talk more about Halifax and Widnes a little bit later on, but Jimmy, give us your thoughts on where you think Batley and Keighley are, because, you know, big win for Batley yesterday. Keighley, there was all this pressure and optimism. I think it's just slowly sapping away. Well, that's the feeling I get from watching that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the reality of how tough the championship is,
I think that's
slowly hitting.
Yeah, I think so. Where they are now, I don't want to sound smug, but I'm not terribly surprised. You know, I thought it was always going to be a very tough start for Keighley as they adapt to it and find out where they are. Like you say there, the concern, other than them being new to the game, you know, as a team, I know there's lots of experience in there, but was always going to be the middles. You know, we talked, all of us, about when we went through all the other teams. There's some really good packs in that championship. Even some of the teams who we had flirting with the playoffs, their strengths are usually in the middle. What Keighley seem to have is an incredible array of talent in the halves and the outside backs, which is amazing when you are on the front foot. Now, I know Keighley's positive on that is that the way they are trying to play, and I'm sure they will keep getting better at that system, is that they can play from anywhere. So even if they are 40 out instead of 20 out. They're confident they can put plays on and score points from deeper. But we know it's hard to do that, you know, and you will get those easier scoring opportunities if you're in better positions, and that, you know, that comes down to their middles winning those arm wrestles. So yeah, I still don't see Keighley getting dragged into the relegation fight. I think they will improve and they'll pick up points when they get the opportunities. And Batley's a similar story, you know. I didn't expect them to be off to a flying start. You know, the transition of losing Hooley and Gilmore, as we've talked about plenty of times, was always going to be so hard. So I think the two teams that will get better, but I only think they're going to get better enough to not get dragged into that relegation battle. I would be pleasantly surprised if either of them go on a run and launch an attack at the playoff spots. Because as we expected, there's some quality teams who are already picking up points, and some teams who we didn't expect. You know, I think probably, without verging off topic, Swinton is obviously, we talked about it last week, an incredible start. London, although they've not necessarily picked up that many points so far, they're proving with a 1 point defeat to Sheffield and an 8 point defeat to Halifax, they're no mugs, and they are gonna fight every game and they will pick up points. Batley's win at London is starting to look better and better as the weeks go by, you know, and we've known from July that we're quite sure there's not going to be many points between 4th and 8th or 6th and 7th and even in the bottom end. So those 2 points Batley did get in London could be massive. You know, it like I say, that result looks better as the weeks go by when we see London are going to be a real tough opponent for anybody. So yeah, I think it's no mass surprises. I expect them both to get better, but you know, tough seasons for both of them.
Just a little bit on Keighley. Luke Gale didn't look in the best health at the end of the game, Joe. Keighley have just sent Jack Miller to Newcastle. If Keighley were to lose Luke Gale, that obviously compounds Keighley a little bit, doesn't it? It's interesting, isn't it, how the world works and the world turns.
Yeah, and it's, you know, injuries are always going to be a big part, as we know.
Well, as I said earlier, that'll show me we've got some players. There's no stress, mate.
Are you just sitting here, Joe, to tell? Cause
I don't know, Mick. You never look at me. So
I've just asked you. You know, it's
what do you want me to say about Luke?
No, I'm just saying. If Keighley were to lose, look, we could obviously when we get onto the other games.
If you lose Luke Gale on any team,
even if it's a couple of weeks,
they're going to get substantially. They will get worse. Sadly, you can't replace a player like Luke Gale, especially in the champ.
I think what I was trying to say is it would be absolute rotten luck for Reece and Keighley
to lose Jack Miller, and then
you've sent Jack Miller because there's no place for him in the team. He's then gone to Newcastle, and then Luke Gale's going to be out for a couple of weeks. We don't know.
Even if that's if he would do, obviously out. But as I said, it's going to be a long season, innit? And I think it'll be tough. It probably all depends on who they're playing, what the fixtures are, and if in the.
When you say you've got players, because we know the coaches watch this show, and they obviously speak to Craig and yourself. Are we talking now? Because I've been saying on my radio broadcast for the last month or so, once the Super League season starts and we get a little bit of rhythm, the Super League coaches will know exactly where the players are, and there is going to be not so much a spring clean or a January, an early season sale, but the coaches will know where these players are, and we've seen it this weekend. We'll go on to Bradford's great win over Toulouse in a minute, but we've seen it with Liam Tyndall. He's not played for Leeds since that grand final, and here he is now playing for Bradford with a fantastic performance, scoring a try. Is that what we're saying? We're going to see players very similar to your Liam Tyndall's,
every level, Mick.
25
some
numbers down.
Some that didn't, for some reason, get signed or maybe away from the game in different avenues coming. There's There's a couple, Mick, that I think will excite the league a little bit. I'll get a bit of excitement.
So what you're saying, Joe, is that this process is already started.
You'd have to speak to Craig Harrison, Mick. You'd have to speak to Craig Harrison.
We're doing the championship, Joe. You don't have to say any names. Can we expect some news this week?
You'd have to speak to Craig Harrison, Mick. That's all I can say.
I mean, the interesting thing, I think, at the moment...
You can't leave it like that, Joe. People are watching this for championship news.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You've just dropped a big hint here. There's going to be some movement this week.
I think that at the moment, what was really interesting, just veering off a little bit, was in the League One round one, the Midlands had a lot of help from Castleford. Now, that's massive for them, and it's massive for what might happen in League One as a general. As the Super League season progresses, you'd imagine with injuries in the first team, Castleford won't be in a situation where they can afford to let certain players go out. On the flip side, there's a lot of championship players at the moment who are not getting in. And, you know, after week 4 now, we're starting to get an idea and players are starting to think, I need to find some game time. Because League One has only just got going, there's not the opportunities in League One. So the little trickle-down effect of a few Super League players jumping into Championship and a few Championship players jumping into League One hasn't really got going yet. And I don't see that happening for another 3-4 weeks. So there's a bit of a stagnant situation where there's a lot of quality players who aren't getting game time. And that's a worry for us, you know, looking after players, because we want players on the field. Every championship coach wants their fringe players playing. League One teams generally have got bigger squads this year than I think we've ever seen. And it's very hard for a coach to just stick someone in there over a lad who's done the full pre-season and has earned a right to have a chance for themselves. I always think it's really harsh on Fogging Johnson, for example, this weekend. He's played every game so far. He's done well, but leads off Tyndall and D has to make way. It's really hard for a player that. And some coaches are more resilient to doing that. Some coaches in League One now, even though they're being offered some quality players from a championship, are like, well, we're not ready for them yet. We don't want them yet because I want to look after the lads who've earned the right. And it's going to be, because the League One season has started after the Championship season, so there's not been many injuries, we're at this total stalemate. And I think it will be a while before we start to see more movement going down the leagues.
Get some stuff, mate. Get some stuff.
What, you're going to... I don't know what that's for. I've put you on the spot, and I've said...
Going on from Jim, it's an interesting one, because I think it's a tough one for coaches, isn't it? In that regard, what do you do if you quick debate about that? It's like, well, sometimes there's a Super League player quality, a Super League quality player who comes down, and it's a tough decision for the coach. Some of them have to make big decisions where, like you said, they might upset their current player that's signed on, but then bring someone in better. It's a tough balance, because I've seen it last year. I think some made the decision to not bring players in, and it worked actively very against them, but then some, and give that reason that I want to play my lads, which, like I said, you like the niceness of it and the honesty of it, but then also it can go against you.
But then, results, isn't it?
But then obviously it's a really tough balance to get that one.
It's a fair point, and we'll just quickly before we go to Bradford and Toulouse, which was a fantastic game on Saturday. I spoke to Mark Dunning after the game about Fogging Johnson. He wasn't injured. Mark was open and honest. He said it was a very, very tough call for him, but he felt Liam Tyndall offered more. And me being totally neutral, unbiased, watching that game, I think Mark Dunning probably got the call right. I saw a very different performance from Liam Tyndall than what Fogging Johnson can offer. That's taking nothing away from D. Because, you know, I put myself in Fogging Johnson's position. He takes that pass from Gill and he scores just like Tyndall did. Yeah. But it's the other stuff what Liam Tyndall was doing, which is a little bit different to your normal Fogging Johnston performance. And I just hope Fogging Johnston, you know, Mark kind of conveyed that D kind of accepted it's for the betterment of the team. Yeah.
And that's the key, and it's same with anything. It's communication. If if the coach deals with it in the right way and it's for the greater good, you know, your hope players, of course, going to be disappointed, but I hope you understand it. And he knows he'll get another chance in the very near future. Again, as Leeds start to have more injury problems as the season goes on, they might not be able to offer Bradford those players. And it's all this merry-go-round, and there's pros and cons.
Yeah,
there's pros and cons
I agree.
to it. Like Joe says, sometimes a coach has got to make a brave decision. What you don't want to see is a coach bringing these players from a Super League club and it not get the win, because then you've lost both sides, haven't you? But what Bradford did at the weekend, as you're going to get onto, shows that sometimes it can be that little difference.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Swinton going to Batley earlier on in the season as the big championship shock of the season. Well, what happened at Odsal on Saturday was equally up there. The bookies giving the bookies giving Bradford 18, 20, 22 start. You know, we know Swinton had 26 at Batley.
Yeah.
So probably not quite on that scale, but in terms of,
huge upset.
Massive. I mean, the game itself, and I'm going to give Mark Dunning and Lee Greenwood and Bradford a massive amount of praise for this, is because everybody knows in the Championship, Featherstone and Toulouse, they have just that little bit extra. They like to start fast and strong. We go back to that round 1 win for Featherstone at Keighley. Keighley, before they've had a feel of the ball, they were 16 points down. Similar situation with Toulouse, when Toulouse were up at Barrow, and obviously those two teams, York and Newcastle, have gone to Toulouse. Before you know it, you're 20 points down after 20 minutes. There's no coming back. What happened at Odsal on Saturday was Toulouse started, for the first 5 minutes, I thought, the stronger of the two. You know, you're looking at Ashall Bott, you're looking at Anthony Marion, you're looking at Belmas, the big prop forward. But what you saw from Bradford was that mongrel. You saw that literally never say die attitude. Yeah. And I've not seen that spirit in that Bradford team probably since that Leeds Challenge Cup win. You know, it literally was a back to the wall performance from Bradford.
You didn't go running onto the pitch screaming, did you?
No, I didn't, Joe. I didn't. No.
Running down the Dad tells the story. You didn't.
No, there was none of that. No, there was none of that. But it was a real unexpected, and a surprise.
Yeah,
they had a great win over Widnes. We know what happened on that Monday night game at York, and what has happened since then has been.
He's got the reaction he wants.
That's
what you want to see. If with a sad loss like that, you want to see a big reaction, and he's got that.
We know they didn't have Citalete, Akuala. We know they didn't have Harrison Hansen. Toulouse were there ever so slightly for the taking. I spoke to Sylvan Houlis before the game, and Sylvan was very honest in that, yes, they've had these great wins. Yes, they'd only conceded 4 points from 3 games, and he's praising the defence. But his main concern, and it's probably more of a concern now moving forward, was in the early part of the season, it was for him to navigate his words, his threadbare squad, so to speak, through these early part rounds of the season. Don't pick up mass injuries, don't pick up suspensions, because yes, they have got 20 full-time players, but as we're seeing with Hansen and Akuala missing, injuries are starting to bite, and that is going to have a huge detrimental effect on Toulouse and their ability, because Bradford, after that opening 5 minutes has gone, I've got to be brutally honest, Bradford were on top for the remaining 75 minutes. Wow. And that will please Mark Dunning, and that is probably going to please people like Sean Long and Mark Campbell, who were there on Saturday. They were watching that. Mark Campbell, on the full 80 minutes, we could talk about his thoughts on Featherstone and the crowds and the situation at Featherstone. But, he was actually delighted because he wants a strong Bradford, not just because Bradford will take a shed load of fans now to Featherstone a week on Monday, but it's proven that Toulouse aren't this all singing, dancing, unbeatable team that have dropped down from Super League.
I've got to dive in, Mick. I've been saying on the show week after week, I want to see a team go and attack them, because I've watched their highlight and I've watched.
That's what Bradford did.
I've watched 2 games, and I keep saying I don't want to hear this. Oh, we just didn't show up. I said it time and time again, and I said it on the show, didn't I, when we previewed the game. And I'm so happy Bradford have took it to him, and they went for it, and look what happened. They won. I can say I was potentially right about some things, but I'll not. I mean,
I was buzzing because that was when we did the preview. I said it's going to be the first time. You know, Joe's been saying, I don't want it to be this two teams.
Well, no, and I've said Toulouse look beatable. I don't want to insult Toulouse. They've got some brilliant players, and they will be top two guaranteed, probably in that final come the end of the year. But I thought within the season they look beatable. They didn't, like I said, a Fred. What word did you use? Fredbear squad. I like that. Fredbear squad. And it could show throughout certain games, and I don't want teams to think they're not beat. I want close games against Toulouse. I think there will be a lot of close games against Toulouse, and they did it. So well done.
And that was
Bradford.
it. I said this was going to be the first time I think a team would go at him. And I think that the top 5-6 teams at home will do that. Bradford did it to the next level, really. Yeah. They didn't just have a go at him. They pulled off an unbelievable all-round performance and actually got the win. I didn't necessarily think Bradford would beat him. I thought they'd push him. So it was brilliant for Joe. This competitive championship we predicted is now on at every part 100%. Of the table.
There might be some cost to both teams. There's no secret there was 6 yellow cards. There's no secrets there were 3 or 4 mass brawls. There were a bit of punishes thrown, missed by the officials. So... Listen, for me, pound for pound, really one of the best games. It was like watching the Old Stones bit of championship from 93, 94. Two really hardened teams going at it. Not always to the letter of the law, and I'm sure the RFL. I mean, I spoke to Paul Michael Smale, the referee, afterwards, and listen, I think when Liam Moore comes round to previewing the game and looking at it, listen, I think there might be a little bit of fallout. I hope there isn't, because I don't think Bradford will benefit from losing players. Neither will Toulouse. But as we say, there were 6 yellow cards in the game.
I love it, though. I love it. That's what you want.
What were the spread? I know.
What do you mean?
Of yellow cards? Was
Toulouse had 4, Bradford had 2, it been.
That's bad for Toulouse,
so
isn't
Apple and Lily.
If Toulouse have 4 players banned for multiple games with their threadbare squad, they could be in. Yeah. Hey, they could be up.
And this is probably where the game went. Just quickly on this, it was 18-8 to Toulouse. There were a couple of forward passes on both sides, but ultimately it's in the paper. It's on the scoreboard. 18-8. Toulouse were in control. For whatever reason, they've just imploded, and it was self-inflicted. You've got players running in, throwing punches. Someone punched Brad England on the back of the head. Playing the ball, they're getting sent to the sin bin. That played into Bradford's hands.
That could be 7-8 game ban then, couldn't it?
It depends what the RFL do. But look, listen, a fantastic win for Bradford. They go to Featherstone on next Monday. If Bradford play like that, they'll beat Featherstone. End of story. And I'll eat my words a week on Monday if that doesn't come to fruition. Bradford, I think, have now shown the way for a Sheffield or a Widnes or a Halifax how to beat Featherstone and how to beat Toulouse. Literally go out from that first minute with that mongrel and that
You're
attitude.
chucking Featherstone in there. I'll give Featherstone a bit of respect. I've not even seen a chink in the Featherstone army yet.
Well, we're going to move on to Featherstone and Newcastle next. But
I've not even.
No, I'm trying to sell it for the Bradford fans. Get yourself to Featherstone a week on Monday. But no, great win for Mark Dunning. He said after the game, one of the most satisfying wins in his short coaching period. So yeah, Featherstone. Sorry, I'm coughing. Featherstone against Newcastle yesterday. A routine win for Featherstone. There's nothing more to say other than I know there's a concerned sort of aura around some Newcastle fans. A lot of them are good friends of mine from the League One days. What I will say to the Newcastle fans who watch this show religiously, Chris Foreman and Newcastle are not going to be judged on going to Toulouse and getting pumped by 50. Not going to be judged going to Featherstone and getting pumped by 50.
No.
The fixtures where Newcastle are judged are where they've gone to Swinton and won.
Brilliant for him.
They've got Barrow away this weekend. Not quite must win, but for Barrow it certainly is. That's a chance for them to restart and get their season up and running. But if Newcastle do go there and win, Barrow remain on 0-5. All of a sudden, Newcastle have 4 points. And even after 5 rounds, Jimmy, we know the Championship really intrinsically. That is huge. That could be the difference between Newcastle staying up or getting sucked into that battle.
You've used that line 3 times now, Mick.
What?
And it's a bit. My ego's a bit hurt there, Mick.
What?
That we know.
Me and Jimmy.
Yeah, but we're 10 years in, aren't we?
We know the championship.
We do know the championship.
Long time.
Just a mirage.
Joe, I'm coming on to you. You've just said there's no chicks in Featherstone's armour, so you're going to promote Featherstone now. I'm going to put my fingers in my ears. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, everyone's messaging us saying these two have got them talking behind the scenes. They're having this little connection.
Who's saying that? There's
We're just hardcore championship.
Me and Jimmy don't talk outside of this show.
I think you even said 2 weeks ago when we spoke on the phone yesterday. Sam, do you remember that one? I do remember that, so I think I've
Well, just so you know, me and Jimmy have not spoken at all this weekend.
Oh wow, it's a
we just bleed championship rugby league.
No, listen, look, Joe, I'm not avoiding you.
I'm not avoiding.
We're talking Featherstone and Newcastle.
I spoke close. I'm happy.
Before we go on to Featherstone, I'm just saying Newcastle. They're not going to be judged. Obviously, clearly, nobody wants to see their team lose by 50 cents.
No,
in Toulouse.
It's hard for the fans, isn't it? The only thing with that is as a neutral, it's easy to be like, don't matter. It doesn't matter because the only games that matter for them, in my opinion, is how do they escape relegation when they play Whitehaven, Swinton, and they get some home games against teams who are coming a bit weaker, as a general rule. However, as a fan, it's really tough, for spending the money, for spending the time, and to go and watch the team get pumped is obviously hard. Having a real realist approach, like you said there, they've got to really focus on the games that, on paper, are winnable, and it's easy for us neutrals and passives to say that, but it is tough for fans. It's very tough for fans, when you've been.
I think the only reason it's tough is because they've been right next to each other. If there were 4, 5, 6 weeks between the Toulouse and Fev game, I don't think you'd be blinking an eyelid. You'd be like, oh, they had a big lot. But I think it's only because they're right next to each other.
I know, but we've mentioned about Keighley and perhaps them not matching the optimism at the start of the season. They went to Keighley and they lost by 46. That's what I'm saying.
It wasn't by 46. Keighley got 46.
But
got points. It was a good game.
No, Joe, they've got one of the worst defences in the championship of Newcastle. That's the point I'm trying to say. They have got the worst defence.
Well, they will do because they've had Toulouse and Fev in the first 4 weeks.
The point I was trying to say is,
are they the only team that have had that?
Do Newcastle expect to go to Keighley and have 46 put on them? No, that's the point I was trying to say. That they've literally had these 3 horrific results. You can argue about Toulouse and Featherstone, but Keighley was not a game anybody at Newcastle thought they would go there.
Why are they horrific? Part of the Keighley game were a good game. Why is the Toulouse and Feather horrific result?
I'm going to stop a minute now. Maybe this is me, but I'm a fan of Newcastle.
It's only because they played so close together that
I see Keighley put 46 on my team. Am I happy? No. Regardless of the fact if I score 22.
But Keighley on the day can do that. I've got no doubt Keighley will do that to multiple teams on the day. They play fast attacking rugby.
I don't think you're getting where I'm coming from. I'm just saying from a Newcastle point of view, and this is not attacking Newcastle, they've had 3 horror results.
That's just really strong words. Horror results against Featherstone and Toulouse. Is there another team that played them both? Is there another team that played them both to start the season?
I don't think anyone's played in both yet.
I'm just saying, Joe, from a Newcastle point of view, I understand why some of the fans, and this is why I said Chris Foreman will not be judged on Featherstone or Toulouse. The Keighley game, yes, disappointing day at the office. Let's hope they turn it around against Barrow at the weekend.
But we're just forgetting the Swinton result, a brilliant way to start the season. We've
mentioned that on the previous show. That was huge for them. That was huge for Newcastle.
Exactly, so they're probably 50-50 on games that they're being judged on so far.
I can be very pro Newcastle. I'm not
being even pro Newcastle, but they're 50-50 on the games. It's only because they played the 2 hardest teams in the first 4 weeks. And then they're 50-50 on the other
if you're a Newcastle fan, let us know in the comments, do you find it acceptable, Newcastle going to Keighley and conceding 46 points? There we go. Let us know.
But do you find it acceptable that they beat Swinton?
Well, of course they will do, yes.
Exactly, so
it's a total 50-50.
But what I'm trying to say, Joe, is week 1 was now a month ago. I'm saying there's a worrying pattern here. Let's see what happens round 5 against Barrow. If Newcastle go there and they concede another shed load of points, then clearly what I am saying now is going to come to fruition. Newcastle proved me wrong. I'm not literally putting the knife in them. I'm just saying, to be conceding 46 points at Keighley on the back of what's happened.
2 weeks ago.
Guys, we are going nowhere here. I think it's dead simple. An amazing win. It's concerning that this should
He's winding me up on a Monday, but I'm just saying.
We'll find out at Barrow. We'll find out at Barrow. We'll know where Newcastle.
Exactly.
For me, it's all expectations. I didn't expect Newcastle to be anything but in a relegation battle, so I'm not surprised by anything.
I had a third bottom.
If some of their fans expected them to be knocking on door at playoffs, then now they're starting to realise that is probably going to be a bit of a pipe dream. This Barrow game's massive because Barrow have been really struggling. Can they get a response and get their first win on the board? Exactly. And a Newcastle are going to be the victims of that? Or do Newcastle show that we have in these more games that we've got more of a chance in? They need to. I agree with you. That result against Keighley is poor, but
they've had 3 poor results, Jimmy.
This is their chance.
They've had 1 poor result.
Yeah, the other 2. I'll write off the other 2. I'm with Joe on that. Write off the other 2. This game is the one where if they get the win and get 4 points on, then their start of the season for me is an absolute success. Absolute success.
I agree.
If they get pumped by Barrow, Newcastle.
That's the point I was trying to make.
Second favourites to get relegated.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see next week.
Each week, I don't know if you guys are doing it, but on this show, each week, I am mentally adjusting teams. And based on what we've seen so far this season, we'll go on to Swinton. Obviously, they had a disappointing result at Whitehaven. But, even now, I've still got Swinton out of that bottom 2.
Right.
But they've had a miles easier fixture. Not saying Swinton won't be or will be. I'm not. This is. But if you look at, surely you've got to look at who each team have played.
Joe, they've gone to Batley. Going to Batley is never easy. Even with a Batley with
a
no
brilliant
Gilmore
win,
and
exactly.
Hewlett.
But that's exactly one win. Newcastle have beat them, so you put in Swinton above them. But Newcastle haven't played any of the teams that Swinton have got the wins against.
Yeah, but we're going to see that this weekend, aren't we? But I'm just saying, mentally, each week I am placing teams in a different position. Right, we're going to go on to Featherstone.
We've got to move on, boys.
Yeah, you were going to talk about Featherstone.
Oh, it's a fun laugh. There's no doubt.
The people will be listening to it.
There,
I was actually giving Chris Foreman a bit of toffee there by saying, look, they're not going to be judged on them Featherstone Toulouse games. Get on with it, Joe. We're talking about Featherstone now.
Featherstone, I think, just a brilliant team, aren't they? What we've seen, potential Super League side again. They've actually, I think, what we have seen is that there were doubts. Maybe they had weakened. We weren't sure. I don't think they have. They're clearly similar level. They're very good, and I think it'd be a tough one to beat them.
I suppose the thing with Featherstone is we've seen Toulouse tested for the first time. We've seen.
Me and Joel do our own Newcastle debate now.
But we've seen Toulouse tested for the first time. We thought that Halifax would be able to test them, and they didn't. Now I do think Halifax were particularly poor that week.
Yes, there was a lot of errors.
And the jury is out really on are Halifax gonna be like they were last year, where you could pretty much say they were the third best team. They had a little bit of a gap between them and anyone else.
Agree, yeah.
This year, I don't think that's going to be the case, and it's a great game tonight. We're going to get another idea of where Halifax are. So Featherstone, in theory, have had that test already and come out singing, whereas Toulouse have had the test and they've not. The big games for Fev, I think, are going to be when they go on the road and they play, for me, the other top teams in the league, which is Bradford away, Toulouse away, Sheffield away, and even going to Widnes away. On the side note, I do Widnes losing Gilmore is massive, but I'm looking forward to seeing Featherstone tested, and I do think it will happen. When we're playing some of the teams.
Do you think they'll do it next Monday when Bradford go?
They've got to be. They've got to be. You'd still have Fev favourites, and I'd expect it to be probably 14, 16 on the handicap at Fev. But if Bradford's problem here is, and this is just sport generally, recreating a performance like that is so hard because it will have taken so much out of it. If they can, like you say, there's no reason they can't really push them. They need another 10 out of 10 performance.
Well, they get an extra couple of days rest, but we're led to believe Brad England's going to miss now for a few weeks.
Are they on Monday next week?
Yeah, Monday next week.
That'll be a good Monday night.
If a team is not 10 out of 10 against Fev, they can't beat them. That's how I view it. You need Fev to be 9 out of 10 and you need to be 10 out of 10 to have a chance. You know, if you're 8 out of 10, you can't do it. So
no, I agree.
That's
you've
where
got to turn up and literally throw the
you've got to be and hope that you get him. Yeah. So
well, we're moving on now. London against Sheffield, could have gone either way. London thought they had that game won. There was a late try, and then Anthony Fackery, who does what Anthony Fackery does, that game management, controlled the game and got the winning drop goal, 21 points to 20. No surprise, and this might be blowing the trumpet for you, Jimmy Mack, but Sheffield third in the table. Yes, they've not really been tested as in terms of opposition. We know they've been tested in the close games that they've had.
yeah.
But apart from that opening day defeat against Sheffield, they've not really, against Halifax, they've not really been tested. But as we're going to probably discuss with you,
yeah, I think this was. I mean, I was at that first game, and what you saw was against Halifax. You know, they could have won that game, so that was a good first sign. Then they pumped Batley, but you know, Batley had a tough start, so you've got to take it with as impressive as it was. You just don't know. I thought this was going to be a real challenge. We had last year when we went to London, it was the famous game where they were miles up at half time and ended up losing it.
Yeah,
so you know, all those things go into it. It's a long trip. I spoke to Bish this morning. They set off at 7 a.m. They get back at 10 p.m. You know, it's a long day. It's a hard away game. Last week, London, we talked about it, put in a hell of a performance against Halifax. They got within 8 points of Halifax. They never gave up. You know, this year, London are never rolling over for anyone. You know, Mike Eccles has got them fighting. They're a good team. They've got good middles. They've got wingers who get good yardage. They're no pushover. They're a team that if you're not on your day, they'll capitalise. Sheffield almost received it again.
Yeah.
But thankfully, you know, they've snuck away. And Mark Aston won't be happy with the performance. It was their worst performance as a team of the year. Lots of penalties, lots of handling errors. But when you're trying to get in that playoffs, they're the games you've got to win. Coming away with 2 points in that game, when we didn't do that last year, is the difference between getting in and not getting in. So that was all about getting the 2 points, getting the job done. Credit is to London. You know, they're the team for me that are really, along with Swinton, are really impressing. Swinton are getting the results, but London are putting in the performances which show, you know, that they're going to cause some upsets. I didn't have him in that relegation battle myself, and I think they're showing enough that they will be, you know, a good competitive team and really probably taking points off teams, which is going to affect the other team's seasons probably more than their own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. How big is Keighley London then on Sunday? Because both teams, they're at 25%. You know, they've played 3 defeats. Again, this is very similar to the Barrow Newcastle game for mine. Whoever loses that, they're in serious trouble.
I mean, it's at London.
No, it's at Keighley.
It's at Keighley. Yeah, so I'd say
good old Cougar Park.
Yeah, I'd say it's a much bigger game for Keighley than it is London.
Right.
Because if Keighley want to continue this challenge for the playoffs, that is a must-win game as far as I'm concerned, and it won't be easy. London, you know, on paper before the start of the season, we're a longer shot to get in the playoffs, so it's a bigger game for Keighley for me.
I think I had London 11th.
I had them in the bottom 3. Yeah, no.
Bottom 4. Yeah, my bottom 4 was Whitehaven, Swinton to go down, then Newcastle, then London. Yeah. But I would not, like you say, very similar with your Widnes, your Bradford, your Sheffield, your Halifax for those sort of positions behind it, Toulouse and Featherstone. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the bottom 4.
I think London are the team this year that have got the. I think I might have had them 4 from bottom, but I didn't think they'd be getting involved in the relegation battle. No. They are probably the team that are probably best positioned to overachieve. I know Swinton are off to a flyer, but I still think, you know, they're in for a tough year. London perhaps are the team that could overachieve this year. Big
result for Whitehaven yesterday. Their first win of the season by 20 points to 4. That obviously on the back of what happened last week against Featherstone, when I think it was 74 points to 4. Bit of a crushing defeat for them. Jonty Gawley obviously turning it around, and I think we mentioned this in the season preview. Whitehaven's home form is going to be key to them staying up. And we've just seen them, you know, already in round 4 when I was doing the commentary on Saturday and I was previewing the Sunday games, I don't think I was wrong to suggest that was a relegation 4-pointer this early in the season.
That's what me and Joe said on the preview, and again, I know some will probably say we're getting carried away, but that's because we do get ahead of ourselves.
But these games and these results will come season's end. You look back on that game. You've taken 2 points off Swinton,
and that was on paper it was all as we looked at the fixtures, that was going to be massive. The fact that Swinton had picked up the 4 points going into that meant that for Whitehaven was an absolute essential victory. So that was, you guys have stolen the show this week, but outside of that was the result of the weekend to come through. That was massive for Whitehaven to get them up and running.
Whitehaven go to Toulouse. Probably not the best idea. It don't get any easier, does it? They've got to Featherstone and had 70 on them. Toulouse are clearly going to be looking for a reaction.
Might be a good time to go to Toulouse for Whitehaven. If that was the business game, get that one done. Enjoy the trip to France. Simple as that, and it come back and get focused on the next game. That's winnable.
York against Barrow. Big game at the LNER Stadium.
Yeah. Finally
poised, 10 points apiece at half time. Both sides really going for it. In the end, York just showing a little bit of Andrew Henderson class, and I think there was a couple of tries, long range scores that York got, which were very eye-catching.
Joe Brown.
Joe Brown.
Brilliant
good
try.
Friend of mine, Joe, come from Stadidley and Bradford Bulls Academy via Wigan, and then Bradford again, now at York, enjoying life under Hendo. A big result that, York.
Put your hand up there.
We know York had to do it tough against Toulouse. I spoke to Hendo after that Toulouse game and he said, Mick, we were down to 13 players. And I'm like, what? He says, yeah, we only had 13 players left and they kept it at 36-0. So if I'd have done the show last week, I'd have given York a lot of praise, a lot of toffee. Clearly they're doing it tough with players injured missing. Yeah. They had that great Monday night win against Bradford and they've picked up another big win at home here. So York, 50% for the season. Their game at the weekend is away to Swinton, which is going to be a tough test for them. And I know we keep saying it week in, week out, there's no easy games in the Championship. But how much pressure, Joe, is Paul Carey, the Barrow coach, under? Because last year, Barrow probably were in that Batley category of overachieving. They got in the playoffs. They had that great Challenge Cup run. They pushed Huddersfield at home all the way on that Sunday afternoon BBC game. They were one of the success stories of the Championship. They're finding it a hell of a lot tougher in 23. 4 played, 4 defeats. And it doesn't get any easy for them because Newcastle will fancy the chances on Sunday there. But how much pressure is Paul Carey and Barrow under? Is he under any pressure? Does he have money in the bank after what happened last year?
Got to give him, like you said, I think we're same with other clubs, aren't you? Probably when you do very well the year before, it probably gives you an extra couple of months of any stress. But yeah, I don't know if he's under pressure, but the team certainly will be in terms of what they expect from themselves. I don't think they'd see themselves without a win at this 4 games into the season. I think that would be massive disappointment for the team and the players. Obviously, like I said, Paul, I don't know Paul that well, but I imagine he will be disappointed. It'd be tough not to be when they had such a good year last year. So yeah, probably the team. I think the team are under pressure. They'll be wanting a win this weekend, and it's, like I said, a must-win game for them really to just get a win and get going and get their season going after obviously a tough start. Maybe for whatever reason, not got into it as good as they would have hoped.
And the thing with Barrow is there's not really been many heavy defeats. A 20-point loss at home to Toulouse. They've lost narrowly away to York. They have been competitive by and large in the games. They had that last-minute heartbreak away at Swinton the week before.
Yeah, and I think it is. It's just last year, as I've talked about before, they were the opposite of what they are now. They were in those tough games, but they were the team that wanted it more. They had the excitement of Maludi and Ritson, who were game winners. They don't have that anymore. They're massive losses, and we knew there would be. And now they're involved in the games where they're arm wrestles and they don't quite have enough. And that's for me how it was always going to be. The run of fixtures have arguably been a bit of a nightmare for him. but it's easy to say that in hindsight. This is the game that, you know, you'd expect that they are going to get that first win because they need to get some mojo. You know, they're on a hangover from last year, like Batley doing so well and both of them losing massive players. They need to get some momentum and they need that first win to do that because this year there is not as many games where you can go and pick up points just by wanting it more and just by being a bit more competitive. And Batley and Barrow are the two teams that are gonna suffer from that, and it's tough for them. Do I expect that they'll start to creep up the table? Yes, I don't think they'll be creeping up to the playoffs, but I do think they've got enough quality. They used for Salford this weekend. You know, they used for Salford. They got a bit of help, and Amir scored early on, but that's going to be good for him. You know, as the season goes on, that link is going to help him out, and I know other teams have got it as well. But I think they've still got enough. They've just had a really tough start, and this is the weekend where they absolutely have to get a win.
The only issue they've got is for any dual reg team, I wouldn't pick Salford just because they've got an amazing team, and I've said Salford will do amazing, but what they've not got is a massive. They've not picked the team with the biggest squad depth. I think that's people's worry about Salford, that they've not got a massive squad. I'm fully behind. So I think they'll do as I've said all along. I thought they'd get into the playoffs, but one thing they've not got is a massive squad. So it's an interesting.
Tend to agree, Joe. Just quickly run through the results again. Batley 28, Keighley 23, Bradford 28, Toulouse 18. Bradford, we've all decided they get the championship team of the week, so well done Mark Dunning and the Bradford Bulls. I don't think anybody will disagree with that.
No.
A magnificent performance. Featherstone 56, Newcastle 6, London 20, Sheffield 21, Whitehaven 20, Swinton 4 and York 28, Barrow 14. Just quickly then, tonight's game, I've got Halifax by 12.
Right, I think Halifax have got to put in that big performance. They've not had one for me. They've not had a great
they've not
performance.
really clicked yet.
I don't think so. And I think they've got a couple of in from Cass,
which is
if Widnes without Gilmore, they're still tricking on.
That could be who they got in.
For Noah, who's the other guy? I'll get the squad up quickly.
Yeah,
but
just even at that, they've got Fairbank back, they've got Mason back, so they're going in with a stronger team.
Mason's back from his injury.
I'm kind of with you, Mick. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Halifax win this by, I'll go 8 points, and take advantage of Widnes, who are good, solid, good start to the year. This is a game where if Widnes had Gilmore, I think Widnes could be causing an upset, but Halifax have to win this for me.
They've got Fanua and Matangi with Fairbank and Mason back from his injury. Yeah.
So Widnes with me, Widnes and Sheffield were the two teams I put in the playoffs. But they're doing really well without Gilmore. But this is the sort of game for me where you do need a Gilmore in there if you're going to compete. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it because I've been putting little question marks against Halifax. I do expect them to put that performance in. If Halifax don't, I said to you,
the question marks come.
For me, they're in that chasing pack. They're not the third best team. They're no different to anybody else in that top 5. So.
Playing it safe again, Jimmy Mark.
I'm not going for Halifax by 12 because of the Castleford players.
Widnes are favourites.
Widnes are favourites.
Still pretty safe, Jim.
Well, let's see yours. Come on.
Controversial comment, Jim.
I'm not going for Halifax because of those dual reg players. Because as we found with Tyndall, they don't integrate and play. They're literally thrown in.
Yeah.
Literally thrown in. So is that cohesion going to be there? But I just think, like you say, Jimmy, based on Halifax's start to the season, notoriously slow starters. Even Simon Grick says it. He says, we always start slow. I just think, with it being 4G, with the weather and the elements taken out of it, listen, you've got Mason. Listen, that's why I'm going for it, because the pitch will not be the factor tonight. We will see the Halifax of the June, July on the firm pitches. Over to you, Joe.
Yeah, with you guys.
Halifax?
Yeah.
3 for Halifax then.
Well, last time we did that, we know what happened.
We all got it wrong.
So Let's see.
Simon Green's might be watching. Like, you put the show with the bloody first on us.
You'll be happy if that happens, won't you? I think so.
Oh, me? I'll be always cheering on them. I'll be always cheering the West Yorkshire teams on.
Secret Halifax fan here.
But yeah, Sunday's games: Barrow, Newcastle, Halifax, Batley, Keighley, London, Sheffield, Widnes, Swinton, York. I'll be at Halifax versus Batley on Sunday, and of course that Saturday game is Toulouse Whitehaven.
I'll be at Sheffield, Widnes.
That
cracking fixture.
Oh, do you fancy taking me down to Sheffield, Jimmy?
I can do, yeah.
I might find that one instead.
Find a space.
Honestly, the more you think about it, depending what's happening tonight, that's a huge test.
Yeah.
But listen, we love Championship Rugby League. League One had a break this weekend for the Challenge Cup. The draw is this evening at 6 o'clock. So we know Dewsbury are in the hat. Rochdale Mayfield beat Cornwall, big shock there. Doncaster beat Oldham. Midlands Hurricanes, Hunslet, North Wales Crusaders, Rochdale and Workington. People asked me last night, what's my dream tie? From a Bradford point of view, I want North Wales Crusaders away. Get me to Colwyn Bay on that North Wales shore. I can't wait. Bring it on. See you next week.